Hi friends, joy and peace to you all. Some of us might remember the key moment when we encountered Jesus Christ. That particular encounter would have helped us to make an authentic U-turn or metanoia, a conversion from our weaknesses to holiness, from a wicked life to a better living. And others of us would say that this particular realization or conversion developed gradually over a period of time. Whatever may be the case, those initial sparks of conversion, initial sparks of realization are not just enough to sustain us in our long-term spirituality. What have we to do? We have to make the flame of faith ever glowing, ever burning. Or we have to make our relationship with Jesus Christ ever growing. And what are we to do to make these two particular elements uplifted? The scripture underscores four important practices, four key habits from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 2, verse 42. They are: first, the teachings of the apostles; the second, breaking of bread; the third, fellowship; and the fourth one is prayer life. These are the four important tablets that nourish a person to become a devout disciple of Jesus Christ and enjoy spiritual progress and spiritual maturity. Beautiful. While there are many other creative methods and means in spirituality, these four important habits, these four practices are considered as the best means for one's spiritual fulfillment. In fact, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, with its four pillars such as creed, sacraments, moral life, and prayer life, are seen as being based on these four important habits or practices from the Acts of the Apostles. For example, creed is seen or seasoned as partial teachings from the Acts of the Apostles. The sacraments are seen as a season from the partial teachings of breaking of bread. And fellowship is seen as a season by the partial teaching of the moral life. And of course, the fourth title share the same prayer life. What do they say for our spiritual maturity? Let us see one by that. The first one, the teachings of the apostle. Teachings of the apostle or creed both explain about the life of Jesus Christ through the powerful divine intention of God the Father and execution by the power of the Holy Spirit. To put in a simpler form, the teachings of the apostle or the creed invites us to have the knowledge of Jesus Christ, knowing Christ, studying Christ, making our mind, body and soul to grow in conformity with Jesus Christ, to make our life enliven the values and the virtues of the gospel and Jesus through our words and deeds. If we know Christ, we experience Him within ourselves, make Him enlivened and witness through our words and deeds. The first thing is knowing Christ, a knowledge about Christ for our witnessing life. Beautiful. The second one is sacraments are breaking of bread. Through sacraments, we enjoy our communion with God. Sacraments are the means of the efficacious sign for the divine grace in our life. All the sacraments are instituted by Jesus Christ in order to make them as an important and efficacious signs of God's grace in our life. They are the means for us to experience God's love and mercy. Sacraments are always in our life from our birth till natural death, accompany us to make us graced, blessed, and to be always with God's presence. So we need to go through all of them in due holiness. The third one is fellowship or moral life. Through fellowship or moral life, or through moral fellowship, we encourage one another in a community or in a society. We strengthen each other to bring out the best out of oneself. Each of us are precious creatures by God the Father. Each of us are given the great image and likeness of God. In spite of our shortcomings, in spite of our weaknesses, we have a precious thing within. Through our fellowship, through our moral life, we encourage and strengthen each other to increase the circumference of love, to increase the circumference of our holiness, to increase the circumference of our morality, to bring out the best out of oneself, to help each other, and ultimately to witness God's love, God's forgiveness, God's mercy, God's charity with one another and to the whole world. Okay, the final one is prayer life. We have heard so much about prayer life. Prayer life is not something limited to conversing with God or communicating with God or talking to God. It's something beyond all of that. You know, Catherine of Siena would say that God is always drunk with love. She saw God as a drunkard of love, and she became drunk with the same divine love. And being drunk with the same divine love, she was able to spread and spray the fragrance of holiness in her community and to the whole world through her superfluous writing. She experienced in her prayer life God's love for her overflowing, and she became the mediator and means and ways of that particular overflowing love, fatherly love or motherly love, through her religious consecration and commitment. And we all know Teresa of Calcutta, Mother Teresa, experienced God's love something differently. She experienced God as omnipotent, all-powerful, so great and marvelous. But that great and marvelous God came down longing for sinners' love, thirsting for sinners' love. What is that love of a sinner? That love of a sinner is repenting from his wickedness to holiness. God's thirst for sinners' conversion was a prayer experience. And she promulgated this particular spirituality to the whole world and became a greater missionary of charity, God's divine love. Okay, we all know Dominic Savio. He was always concerned about not offending God. If he goes away from God's track through his weaknesses, through his disillusionment, through his confusions, he just thought within himself that he is offending the compassionate heart of God, the merciful heart of God. For him, the prayer experience was not offending God through his shortcomings. Through that, he was able to make himself as a worthy vessel of God's presence. And Don Guanella, the great apostle of charity, for him, prayer was not just limited to words, just to vocal expressions, just reading the text. No. More than that, he just experienced presenting the spirit, human spirit unto the Lord. The groaning spirit, the suffering spirit, suffering in sinfulness, suffering in filthy situations, suffering in addictions, sufferings in slavery, suffering in enslavement of the world, in distractions, in attachment, and so on and so forth. Presenting our spirit, our inner spirit, our longing spirit, our thirsting spirit unto the Lord, committing it totally unto the Lord, surrendering our spirit unto the providence of God was his prayer experience. So like this, we can add persons after persons about this prayer experience. Beyond all this, there is a beautiful reflection in prayer life. What is that? In prayer, we could acknowledge and know the invitation of God to make another step. Invitation of God for us to make another step in our spirituality through our ability and through God's accompaniment. This is the beauty of our prayer. So, my dear friends, these four important pillars are necessary and important and even obligation for a disciple to become a devout servant of God. Again, I'm telling you, the first thing, teachings of the apostle or creed, to put in a simpler form, knowledge about Christ, knowing Christ, studying Christ, and living Him. The second thing, sacraments, to know God's love and mercy. And the third one is fellowship and moral life. It's to encourage and strengthen each other, to bring out the best out of oneself, to help each other and to witness Christ. The final one is prayer life, to know God's invitation, to know God's support, to know God's unique experience within us to make our life beautiful. Dear friends, let us try our best. Make our discipleship, make our Christian life, make our spiritual life fulfill, content, and witnessing. Praying for you